I'm here in Kampala. Save the Children have sent myself and the wonderful Musical Bethan, who's just off camera, to check out some of the work and some of the programs that they're doing to help and support the people.
We're going to be getting on a flight soon.
There's 36 million people in Uganda, 5 million of them live in Kampala, which is where we are, or where we're going. Where we're on our way to now.
So, a few months ago, if you'd have asked me, Chloe, why are you going to Uganda with Musical Bethan? I probably would have replied with the words, save the children, and healthcare, and honestly not much else. Because even though I knew about the work Save the Children were doing, it always felt like something I couldn't properly connect to. Save the Children are helping newborns are things that I could say, but it always just felt like a sentence and not a reality. I don't feel that way anymore. Meet Naguru Hospital in Kampala. Now, I'm going to tell you that this is one of the better hospitals in Uganda, and I kind of want you to remember this for the rest of the footage. Before we even got to the right ward and started rolling cameras, Bethan and I walked past dozens and dozens of people just awaiting medical help. Honestly, there weren't even enough seats for the waiting patients. Some people were standing, and most were just sitting on the floors in the corridor. We went straight to the maternity ward, where we learnt that Save the Children had been training midwives to resuscitate newborn babies, and they'd also been providing life-saving equipment. And the nurses told us that before this, as many as 3 babies would die per day.
So how many babies do you often deliver in hospital per day?
Per day, in 24 hours, we delivered average 22.
22, so that's almost like
That
one
is
an
the
hour.
average.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Like, to be able to. And how many staff do you have in the hospital working on the maternity ward?
In 24 hours, we have a total of 6. 6 to 7.
6 to 7.
7, at times 8.
I'm called Harriet Othieno. I'm the project coordinator from Save the Children in Helping Babies Breathe project. And Naguru Hospital is one of the facilities where we are implementing this project.
Yeah.
We have trained health workers in resuscitation and also equipping them with knowledge and skills in helping babies breathe. We have also provided them with the resuscitation equipment, and we are also following them up and providing support supervision.
It's amazing what they're doing here. You know, the equipment they're using that like Save the Children have like been able to provide is like saving so many babies' lives.
So these are the resuscitation incubation equipment for babies who are born premature. There is a baby in there that is born months premature. It's with the nurse now. And it's so small. Really tiny baby. This particular child was born 3 months premature, and without the life-saving incubation equipment like this, they would not have survived. It was kind of overwhelming being there. It was awe-inspiring, and we learnt that despite the very limited members of staff, because of the new training and the new equipment, every baby in that hospital that day was stable.
Even days after giving birth, still look great.
Once we headed out of the hospital, we travelled to Kinawatoka on the outskirts of Kampala. And before we even managed to reach our destination, we made some new friends. You want to see my... Oh, you want my glasses? They want me to jump this river. 2, 3, go! Now that I'm home, whenever I think about the trip, the first thing I remember is how the children were in such high spirits, and they were so happy and just laughing and playing outside. They were fascinated by our cameras, also my sunglasses, every time. Bye. An exceptionally short walk through the slums later, we reached the home of Annette. She was an 18-year-old mother, and we were there to interview her and talk about how healthcare had impacted on her life. But when we reached her home, Save the Children staff recognised that she had the symptoms of severe malaria. As it turns out, without even having enough money to get a taxi to go to the hospital, Annette had just been suffering at home through the illness whilst trying to run her shop and look after her child. So we ended up taking her to the hospital ourselves. The nearest one was not Nguru, which we visited that morning, and it was very different. We'd wanted to interview Annette so we could ask her about her life and how it had been affected by access to healthcare. Her child caught measles at a young age, and as a result, even though healthcare became free in Uganda in 2001, Annette still had to pay a large sum of money for the treatment. More than she could actually afford, more than she was actually earning. And while Annette was in hospital recovering from malaria, her child was being looked after by a friend and neighbour who was also a young mother. The trip to Uganda was short, but it made a couple of things very, very clear. One, everyone, no matter who they are or where they live, deserves access to healthcare. Number two, supporting charities, which subsequently support people in need, really does save lives.
The equipment has helped so much because now we are able to really resuscitate these babies and they get up well.
On the 25th of September, world leaders will gather to set the global goals and decide how they're going to shape the future. On the 24th of September, on the eve of the global goals being set, thousands of people are coming together across the globe but united under one sky to remind the leaders of the world that we are watching.